Hello, good evening, welcome back to my channel. My name's Louise and this is Louise's Lifestyle. Thank you for joining me. So another update on the variegated guava. Featured them I think 10 days ago, just to share with you the viewers what developments have happened, if any. On that video, if you haven't seen it, there were some signs of small flower buds, and have they stayed on? Because this is the thing with tropical plants, you can get them to bloom or you can get them to bud stage and then they can all fall off, just like with the mangoes. All the little fruitlets that appeared had loads and loads of flowers on it, but the Amrapali mango, but the last little mango fruitlet fell off a few days ago. So what's happened with these? So I've only got the 2 variegated guava. In hindsight, I should have bought all 3. They only had 3 in the nursery and I just chose 2. But anyway, that's another story. So these 2, this one's a little bit smaller. It's not grown as much, although they were the same size when I got them. This one I've had to prune back because there was a lot of dieback on it. So this one's not as vigorous. So let me just separate it. You can see it's a lot smaller, and obviously it's got less foliage. I'm bending the branches. I'm hoping to encourage growth to come out from these bare sections. We just have to see if that works. So this one has actually got 2 flower buds on it. So although it's not got much in terms of foliage, it's managed to put out these 2 flower buds, which might not be a good thing for it, because with it not being such a less vigorous I should say, than the other one, that might sap all its energy. You know, it's concentrating all its energy on these 2 flower buds. But it's good to see that it's of the age, you know, it's a mature enough plant to flower, and hopefully it will maintain some fruit, a single fruit maybe, and it will continue to grow. And then both of these variegated guavas have become less variegated. Could be a change in the environment. There's obviously less sunlight here than there is in Bangladesh, and did drop all the original foliage. So this is not original foliage, this is new. So the smaller leaves tend to have more variegation, don't seem to grow much bigger than say that size. And then these newer, bigger leaves have got just a sort of a tiny hint of variegation around the edges. And maybe that's the way that the plant will survive, is through having more green. Green absorbs the sun better. You don't get much chlorophyll happening in leaves that have got a lot of white in them. So you won't, it won't feed the plant. If the whole plant was like covered in leaves like that, although it might look very pretty, it wouldn't be a healthier plant. So this is probably the way it's going to be, and yeah, I'm willing to allow that to happen. I know some people remove these green leaves in favour of the more variegated, but these are obviously bigger in size, and so I think that's probably its way of coping. So you can still see hints of variegation on the very borders, so they're not completely you know, green. There is hints of white, see on there, on the very borders, So that one's got 2, and that's a smaller of the 2 variegated ones. And this one has got much sort of, it's grown a lot better, produced lots of new growth, and it's got a balanced appearance to it. And obviously it's got flower buds as well. So there's a couple of flower buds there. You can see there's like a whitish, sort of like a stripe to it. Now one of these, I can't remember which, but one of these had a fruit attached to it when I bought it in the nursery. So when I went to Bangladesh, I chose these at this nursery, and I kept them at the nursery for 10 days until I was ready to fly out. I didn't want to bring them back to the place I was staying at and then, you know, have to water them, etc. So they stayed at the nursery, and we went back and collected them just 2 days before we were due to fly out. And so when I bought them, one of these had a little fruit. See if I can pull up that picture. And there was a little striped fruit on it. So I hadn't noticed that at first. And then it was just as I was leaving, and then I was looking at them, I thought, oh, it's got a little fruit on it. It was like perfectly camouflage striped on it. So I knew that these were of fruiting age, even though they were quite small in their appearance. These are not grafted. These are just, I suspect these are just air layers. Tend to do air layers more than they do. I don't think they actually graft guavas. I think they just take air layers, and that's how they clone them basically. So this one has got a number of flower buds. So there's 2 there. There's a singular one there. I think that's the one that's the biggest bud at the moment. I don't know how big it will get before it opens. It might just be a small flower, with it being a smaller type of guava. And there's another 2 there. That's 5. I'm pretty sure there's a couple more. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, there they are. There's another 2 down there. So there's 7 on here. I think that's ample, you know, for a plant this size to bear. If it does, you know, carry fruit, I think 7 is probably more than enough for it. But yeah, so I thought I'd just do an update on the variegated guava. I share with viewers who are interested in growing guava in the northern hemisphere, you know, indoor growing basically. Not much happening with the purple guava. I've got the smaller one of the 2, and I do check on it regularly. It's getting the same sort of fertilizer and watering and lighting, but I'm not finding any. I thought at first, I think it was the other one, I thought I'd spied a couple of flower buds, but they turned out to be leaf buds, so it's very hard to tell. Like say on this one, for instance, you can see in the leaf axil down there, I don't know if you can see, right in the leaf axil there's a little bump of some sort. Now that may just be another leaf, you know, coming out. You can see here as well, they just may be leaf buds. So yeah, I've heard mixed things about these red Malaysian guava, that they are slower growers, that they are a bit more tricky to keep. So, you know, it's my first time owning guava plants, you know, that I haven't grown from seed. So it's all a bit of a learning curve. So I do, you know, keep checking on them to see if there's any change. I mean, other than that, the red Malaysian guava. It's healthy. It's putting out new growth. Not much more I can say about it, really. I'm not going to go to the lengths of putting it into sort of like a greenhouse environment with high humidity, lighting, 24/7, etc. I can't do that. It's not possible, and that really isn't my aim. Growing tropical plants, I don't really want to have to create a greenhouse inside my house. Try and get them to be acclimatized as much as possible to what I can provide, just normal room temperature. The grow lights that I've got here, there's nothing fancy about them, and they're not on all day. I only put them on as it gets dark, just to give them an extra boost, especially if it's been very cloudy and there's been no real sun. I will put them under the grow lights for a bit longer. If it's been a lovely sunny day and, up till it's almost 10 o'clock here in the UK, where we get longer day lengths during the summer months, and if the sun's been shining all day, then that's enough. I don't need to put them under the grow lights after the sun goes down, because they've had more than enough, to balance that. So yeah, that's the update on my mainly to do with my variegated guavas. Wish me luck, folks, that these will flower and possibly get a fruit. Let me know if people have grown guava with fruit on here in the UK. How did you manage it? What kind of feed did you give it? I'd be interested to know. So thanks very much for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.